So just look at the Nifty chart. Oh my God, right? So this day was the most stressful day, I think, for a lot of people because you were seeing your portfolios going into red, deep red, because I think the entire market was falling down and your portfolios was going down even lower, right? Um, and there was a huge downfall here. So I had made this entire ascending channel. I was tracking this ascending channel, and for me, my buy zone was around 22,300. So anytime it went to around 22,300 is when I had decided that I would buy. I would not buy apart from that. Now I was awake during the entire election time. Over here, it was almost 11:45 p.m. I was awake till 2 a.m. watching the entire election thing, and instead of looking at news channels and looking at other people shouting at the numbers, I was actually on the ECI website, right, which is the Election Commission website, and I was looking at the leading and trailing patterns over there. And I was also looking at the margin because they used to give the leading and trailing patterns and also give the margin on the ECI. So from that itself, you could somehow take a guess that who is leading, who is trailing, and how close the margin was. Because if somebody was leading by a huge margin, I already know that seat was done. But if somebody is trailing by a small margin, and in fact, I remember I was watching from Varanasi belt also. I saw Narendra Modi was actually trailing in the first half. So because of that, the market was reacting very, very, very drastically. It fell down quite a bit. And then after that, I think around 22,300, I was very scared, to be honest, to buy. I really wanted to buy, but I didn't know what was happening because I thought if they don't get majority, then will they form the government? Because India Alliance was actually getting a huge, India Alliance was actually getting a huge margin up, right? So around 22,300, I just bought three stocks. Okay, around 22,300, I bought three stocks. It was 2 a.m. in the morning. I bought three stocks and I went to sleep. And those three stocks were very safe, simple bets. It was HDFC Bank, ICICI Bank, and Reliance. I just bought these three because I said if there's a pullback that happens in Nifty and Bank Nifty, then HDFC, ICICI, and Reliance will help with this pullback. Obviously, the pullback happened and I made a quick short term money on that and I sold it right now. But I bought it at 22,300 and went to sleep. I didn't know that it fell from 22,300 to almost 21,300 in the night. Luckily, I was not awake, or else I would have panicked. But I just went to sleep and got up the next day, and I was in good profit when the next day market went up, right? Now, coming to what happened after that, okay? So, okay, now I'll skip a little bit because we all know the basic stuff that, okay, they didn't get simple majority. Now they're doing an NDA alliance. They have done a huge alliance with JDU and TDP. So both have asked, special budget from the center and all of that. We all know this, correct? I think we're all up to date with this knowledge that they're forming the government as a coalition government with TDP. So Andhra Pradesh companies and Andhra Pradesh is going to get a huge boost in the next few years. So please keep a track of all the people who are in Andhra and who are around that area. This is your time to make good money in the next 4 years. You will see a lot of influx of capital coming in your state. Okay. Now, all of that you leave aside. Till now, we understood what the market update is. Now, do you know what is the key difference that is going to happen between Modi 2.0 and Modi 3.0? Do you guys know the key difference between 2.0 and 3.0 now? Right, I've been looking at this very deeply and trying to understand what changes in my thought process. And the good thing is, okay, chalo, there's going to continue. It is going to be Modi, BJP-led government or NDA-led government. So most of the policies will not change. Some of the themes are intact, but there is one big major difference, and that is what I'm tracking constantly. Okay. Now, the biggest problem, what you and me need to track now, is in Modi 3.0, they might not get all the ministries. Okay, earlier every ministry was under ND or under BJP, right? So they could take any decision and grow as fast as possible and pump money in each sector. But right now, that is not going to happen because there's a coalition government. Now, none of the ministries have been sorted or none of the ministries have been perfectly given to everybody, but we can get a sense of an idea. So if I just go to Google and I just look at what is happening, see, because I keep looking at news articles to understand the vibe of the entire market. I'm just Googling NTA ministries because I want to know who's getting what ministry. Next, I want to see what is happening in the market. Now, what I have understood from the last 3, 4 days is that BJP wants to keep defense, wants to keep finance ministry, wants to keep external ministry of affairs, and they want to keep road. Okay, these are the four things that they want to keep, and energy as well. They want to keep this, but there is a big fight. There is a very big fight for the railway industry. Okay. Railway industry, I think both people were trying to get it. Both Nitish Kumar was also trying to get it, and TDP were also trying to get. So there is still a lot of fight for the railway industry. Now, what happens if there is a fight for the railway industry? You guys are smart. So I want to try and understand your perspective. What happens if railway industry goes out of BJP but goes to someone else? Do you think the impact or effect will be 100% as the same as before, or will you feel that there will be a small correction and the money that go into railway might not be completely utilized the way it needs to go? What do you guys think? Right? In my belief, in my opinion, I'm looking at risk reward ratio. Right? I'm looking at what are the safe sectors right now that I can invest, and what are the sectors that, you know, I would say, if I don't have still confidence on the new guys that take my sectors, right? Maybe they'll do a great job, but I don't have confidence today, right? Like for example, if road and railways go to Nitin Gadkari, at least you know that he does his job. Okay, you know that finance ministry, all of the other defense, all of that goes to the BJP Sarkar. We at least know that these things will do well. But a railway going out of them into some other person's portfolio, I don't know yet. I don't have the data. I don't have the confidence, so I can't make any justification on this. So I wanted to pick companies and sectors which I feel that BJP should retain, and if BJP retains, what will happen? Now there is another plus point as well. Another huge plus point that happened in this whole tamasha of the election. There was another plus point. I don't know how many of you all saw this. Did you guys see the dividend that RBI gave or got? You saw the dividend that the government got from RBI? You see the amount of money that came out of that, right? So the government is actually currently flush with cash, flush with capital, flush with cash, which they can utilize and put anywhere in the market. Imagine that amount of cash again coming in as liquidity, right? Is going to be very, very, very beneficial again for the entire. So yeah, what was I saying? So now I'm trying to look at and optimize what are the sectors that are doing well. Now there is another very interesting report from IIFL. Okay, this came on the 4th of June, and you should definitely read this article whenever you're free. It's a public report that they have given. Look at what they have said, right? So India strategy, assuming NDA government's taking on thin majority ice, what they have said is what are the different polity, if they do a coalition government, what will happen? And more importantly, they have also given a good valuation mix. They have said what are the companies that look favorable, what are the companies that don't look favorable, and everyone has come out and said that the risk reward ratio right now for large caps are very well, because large caps have corrected nicely. So the risk reward ratio for large caps are doing well. Obviously, we will go more deeper into it and understand a little bit more, but this is a base point for you to study. Apart from that, coming down, look at this, another very interesting thing. Sector wise P re-rating, and then we will look at highest re-rated stocks is not required. Yeah, interesting. Sector write up and top picks. Now, obviously, we are not blind to look at all of this. We will not blindly look at everything. Yeah, but we will just look at this a little bit more. Okay, so what they're saying is that agriculture, AMCs, auto, they've given a full detail of all this. I believe some of them will work really well. I believe some of them will not work. Apart from that, there's also a very recent article come from Goldman Sachs about this as well. So Goldman Sachs has basically said what are the economic impacts of a possible coalition government in India. Again, came on 6th of June, and they have very clearly said over here, if you read it more closely, the sectors to watch closely are railways and defense, given the remarkable growth, and companies such as L&T and Ultratech in the infra space will do well, along with Havells, Crompton, Astral, Polycab, Kajaria. Capex is definitely happening. I don't know how many of you all have seen this, but in the last few years, people have been spending a lot of money just in Capex. They have spent money to increase their manufacturing capacity, and they are now growing extremely well because they believe in the next 4-5 years demand is going to be massive. In fact, I don't know how many of you have seen, but Ultratech Cement has done one of the biggest capex that is there currently in the market, right? Which is huge. But also, I feel there will be price competition coming up there because everyone's doing a massive capex in the cement industry. So I feel that will be slightly oversupply coming into the picture. Make in India theme will do well, railway defense will do well, and all of this is there. Correct. So now we have understood. Now, if I have understood all of this, now the major game is about the ministries. But I can basically take an informed bet that some of the ministries I feel will do well in India. Okay. Some ministries I know will do well in India. Some ministries might not do well in India. That is my logic for the next 5 years. So now what I'm going to do is, till now, are we clear? Till now, are we very clear? Only once you set this fundamental base is when I can start moving ahead with you guys. Okay, so this is, I'm trying to explain to you my thought process and my thinking. I'm just not coming randomly and saying these 10 stocks will do well or these 5 stocks will do well. I'm giving you my thought process. I'm doing a pure risk reward play in my head, right? I'm bullish on couple of sectors, and I'll tell you which sectors I'm bullish on. Give me one sec, I've written it down somewhere, I'm trying to find it. Okay, yeah. So which sectors am I bullish on? Okay, I am bullish on the banking space, because finance ministry is again going to be retained by the existing government. So banking space, I'm plus RBI has huge amount of money, so I feel this is again going to have some impact somewhere or the other. And usually when there is more liquidity in the market, who wins? Banks win. Whenever there is huge liquidity in the market, banks become a key player, whether it's funding capex for other companies, whether it's funding capex for humans like us or retail investors like us to buy loans or take loans or buy houses, etc., etc. Housing market will still do well. So number one, banks will definitely do well. In banks, there are two things: private sector and public sector. I believe public sector will now start doing much better. People have been talking about public sector banks for a very long time, but I feel public sector banks will continue to do well. Okay. Now, defense is going to continue to do well, which is going to be under BJP itself. I don't think that they will remove road and infrastructure from Nitin Gadkari because he's done a very good job, so I feel that will stay intact. Green energy is something that again will be held by BJP, or not green energy, let's call it renewable energy, because that will again be held by them. So I think renewable energy is on track to do something really amazing in the next 4 years, because I don't know how many of you all are tracking IREDA. They've recently got the Navaratna status. They're now going to fast track their Maharatna status as well. So if you look at what is happening with the entire energy space, people are building all of this. People are building up something that is going to happen in the entire energy space. So this is again going to do extremely well. Apart from that, Indian consumption theme is going to continue. If extra liquidity comes into the market for the next 4 years, consumption theme in India will start doing well. People will start spending more. So a lot of consumption themes will also play out very, very, very well. So looking at all of this, I have made a basket of approximately 11 stocks. Okay, I prefer 10 stocks always. I don't prefer 11 stocks, but I wanted to keep it as diversified as possible. So I'm going to go through each and every stock with you guys. If you guys are ready, I will go through it. Are you guys ready now? Are you guys okay? Cool. By the way, out of being fair and open and the interest of transparency, the 11 stocks that I'm going to discuss today, at this moment, I don't hold any of these stocks. I will be buying these stocks definitely on Monday itself when the market opens. But as of today, I have not held any stocks. Okay. I always do this. Whenever I talk about any stock in my entire videos, I never hold those stocks 1 week before I do the video, because I don't want people to think that there is a problem with it. Is that okay? Chalo. Ready, Guru. Okay, so let's make a basket of 10 stocks. I'm just going to go to where I quickly make my baskets in the past. By the way, how many of you will remember one basket we did during New Year's? How many of you will remember the New Year basket? You remember I made a video on New Year's? It was called New Year 2024 basket. How many of you will remember that? Obviously, we exited that basket. We said, okay, fine, because now there is elections coming up, so we don't want to keep it. But we did do a quick exit on that, right? Do you know how much it's up right now? That basket, it is up 33% from Jan 2nd, 2024. It is already up 33%. Isn't that crazy? And Nifty, I don't think is up 33% year to date. I think Nifty is up around 7%, and this basket was up 33%. Yeah, that was crazy. Yeah, I got a lot of heat for that small case. People said it won't work. People said everything is overvalued. Shashank, how can you pick companies that are overvalued? But people don't understand that there is a future growth prospect to a basket as well. I don't simply come like an idiot and make some stocks. I also know that some things will do well. This went up by 33%, and look at the stocks that were there in this company, right? Everything at that point was fairly valued and mostly was overvalued, but it still did well. Right? And it's beat the market, I think, 4 times over. Chalo, what I'm going to do is now live in front of you guys, I'm going to take I'm going to make 11 stocks. Okay. And guys, one thing very simple, I'll tell you. Even though it gave 33%, do you think when you make a basket of 10 stocks, all 10 stocks will do well? Do you think that is possible? When you make 10 or 11 stock baskets, do you think all 11 stocks will go up? No, right? That is impossible, right? It never happens. What happens is the top, there's always 2, 3, 4, 5 stocks that do well, 5 stocks will do bad. Out of the 5 stocks that will do well, 3 stocks will do extremely well. Okay, if 3 stocks do extremely well, you beat Nifty. Your goal with anything that you invest should be to basically beat Nifty. You cannot create 100% profit basket. It is very, very difficult, and you are lucky if you do that, right? It is very difficult. But don't say that, Shashank, 9 stocks did really well, 1 stock I'm still in loss here. That's a very negative sad attitude, right? If 10 stocks go well, great, but don't expect that always 10 stocks will be doing well. Okay, there will always be one or two stocks that will lag your portfolio. Might be the thesis didn't work out, but overall your portfolio should be up. Got it? Cool. Chalo. Now let's make a quick balanced portfolio. I'm going to create this portfolio. I'm going to call it, what do you call that? What is today's date? 8 June, right? Let me call this 3.0, 8 June, 1 year time frame. Okay, this is a 1 year time frame. As I always do, 1 year time frame, 1 year time frame. Okay, max stop loss means max loss. Let's assume that it goes to shit, something goes wrong, the government falls down tomorrow, because this whole theory of what I'm doing here is that the government does well in the next few years. But assume that the government does not do well in the next 1 year. I'm putting a max stop loss, that this entire portfolio falls by 15%. That is my maximum loss. That means this whole small case should fall by 15%. Then I'm exiting this small case. Are we clear on this? Are we clear on this? Because if it falls by 15%, then my entire thing is gone. Got it? Okay, chalo. Let's do stocks one by one. First, let's go to defense. Okay, let's go to defense. Defense will continue to do well because of our increased pressure that we are seeing from both China and Pakistan. So I think defense is continuing to do well. And in defense, I believe in two players. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about two players. Okay, that is, one is, we all know, two major players who are always the biggest beneficiaries of this, which is Hindustan Aeronautics, and we are going to look at Musgao Dock. Okay, two of the biggest players in the space, that every time there is a defense budget, these two players do well. Now there are other companies, I call them notable mentions. Okay, there are notable mentions. There are other companies that I would love to invest, but because I only like keeping 10 stocks, I will not invest. But you can write it down. The other company that I would really like is BEL. Okay, Bharat Electronics. I feel if Mazgaon and Hindustan does well, then BEL continues to do well because they're all linked to each other. I'm not adding it here because then I would over diversify into defense. But for me, the top two picks are very simple, HAL and Mazgaon, because I know if defense budget is created, then this will do well. Simple fact. Cool. But for me, these are the two picks that I'm currently looking at. Now, next, I want to identify companies in the green energy space, because I know defense will do well. I know green will continue to do well. In green, I want to take a major player, which is IREDA. That means anyone who wins in the green space, IREDA will continue to win. Very simple logic. Anyone wins in the green space, IREDA should win. Now, again, you can either do IREDA or you can have PFC. Okay, Power Finance Corporation also you can take, up to you. Power Grid is also there, up to you. Okay, I prefer IREDA, but I'm giving you two options as well. Both are pretty good. Okay, now coming to the next company. When green energy does well, even transmission companies continue to do well. So Tata Power is currently poised to do extremely well in both energy creation and energy transmission. Okay, this is called EPC companies. Okay, basically they do engineering, they do procurement, and they do construction. So they do everything for the government of India, and government of India is extremely happy with them. So Tata Power comes into that picture. And another company that is doing really well, which is JSW Energy. Now, why JSW Energy? Because recently they have done a huge QIP of around 5,000 crores, and they are winning a lot of deals in the wind energy space. Now, Tata Power is in solar energy. JSW Energy is in the green, which is wind energy space. So they're both not dashing with each other. And there is Adani Green as well. Adani Green is also in the solar space, right? But I am not going to take a bet on Adani Green because I feel Adani Green will make my portfolio very volatile. It might give me great returns in the future, no problem. But I feel if I put Adani company here, it'll be very volatile because something happens tomorrow. You will see Adani shares will fall down 20% and all. It fell down, right, in the last 2 days. I will not put anyone at that kind of a risk. It's okay. We will make good money, but I don't want to make huge risk reward ratio is not comfortable with me on that front. Cool. Right, that is why I'm keeping Adani stocks out. I'm not saying they might not do well, they might definitely do well, but it becomes too volatile, the portfolio, and I want to keep a very nice market neutral portfolio as well, which also beats Nifty and gives a good return. This is how I think. Okay, now till here, are we clear? Very straightforward and simple, very good companies. Yes. Okay, next company that we are going to take, I'm going to take a proxy in construction and real estate. Okay, proxy in construction and real estate. Now, I feel that, okay, 1 second. So there are three companies that I like. Okay, three companies are Apar Industries, KEI Industries. Okay, listen to this very carefully. There is Apar Industries, there is KEI Industries, and there is Polycab. three companies that I feel will do really well in the next in the next 1 year. I think these three companies will do really well. I am going to take a bet on Polycab for now, only because I want to. I mean, see, all three companies are pretty much the same. I would say Apar is much. I would say Apar is more better compared to Polycab and KEI, only because Apar it was in the B2B space, is now entering the B2C space, and Apar's P ratio is more favorable than Polycab's P ratio. But the problem with Apart is it's trading at around 8,000 rupees a share, and Polycab is trading at 6,800. Both are completely fine. But if I had to purely look at from a win-win situation, I think Polycab will do very well also, mainly because they're both into B2C and now entering the B2B space as well. So when the construction industry starts growing really well, Polycab will also definitely start growing really well. Now, coming to other notable mentions. Okay, this is one thing that I'm doing in the construction space, but there are other companies that will do well in this space as well. The other notable mentions, where did that go? One second. Yeah, other notable mentions, as I said, is KEI, is Apar, Ace is doing really well, Astral can do really well, also Ultratech Cement will also do really well. So these are the other notable mentions that I feel will do really well going forward. Okay. Now, coming to the next point. One second. Yeah. Now, after this, do you guys remember IT industry? Which nobody of you guys are actually sadly watching the IT industry. Have you guys seen the IT industry? Are you guys watching the IT industry closely? Yeah. So IT industry is the only thing that is keeping Nifty alive. And IT industries are currently at very broken down valuations, mainly TCS. If you have the funds, I would say go for TCS. I'm going to take a mid cap pick over here. I'm going to go for Persistent over here. Okay, now both are okay. Both Persistent and Coforge are completely fine. No issues with either or. I'm going to go for Persistent. I feel KPIT is also a good option, but KPIT was extremely overvalued right now, sitting at 92. Current P, forward P will still be around 75, 80. I still feel it is slightly higher. TCS would be the best bet, right? For people who have extra funds can buy TCS. I would basically go for Persistent, but both TCS and Persistent are pretty much same. I feel Persistent will do a better comeback, and I'll do a technical analysis also. I will show you all the stocks as well. Okay, all of these stocks are technical analysis also I will do. Okay, chalo, going to the next company. Next we have, I want to take something in the automotive space. Now in the automobile space, there are two major companies that are doing well. One is Tata Motors and one is Mahindra and Mahindra. But Tata Motors has come out with some commentary which is not very favorable for us. Tata Motors has been saying that the next few years will look a little bad. But Bajaj Auto is doing really well. Mahindra and Mahindra is doing really well. So let me take a bet that will win. If any of these companies win, this company will win. Can you tell me which company is that? Have you heard of this company called Precall? Recently did nice amount of capex, and it supports all the automobile players. And if any of these company wins, Precall will win. So I'm going to take Precall in this. That will doing really well. Other notable mentions would be Mahindra and Mahindra. Okay, Mahindra and Mahindra is not bad at all. So that is also something that you can definitely check out. Cool. Then we have the next company, again another capex play in the construction proxy space. Another capex play in the construction proxy space, which is something that I've been very bullish on, is Venus Pipes. Okay, so again, Venus Pipes, 2-3 reasons why I'm slightly bullish on it. They're doing good capex, they've done good backward integration. It is a slightly high risk reward ratio company, and the management is very fair and has been very good in the management commentary that they have given. But if people want to avoid this, you can definitely avoid. If you feel that it's too risky, and you can insert any of the other companies that I told you, which might do really well. Okay, which are the notable mentions like BEL or whatever. You can. I hope you guys are writing down the other notable mentions, but there are other notable mentions you can add instead of Venus Pipes. Okay. Next, after that, I am going into AMC. Now, AMC, again, there are three very good players in the AMC space. Okay, if you have to ask me about risk reward ratio, I would say the three companies are Motilal Oswal Finance, it is Nuvama Wealth, and it is Anand Rathi. If you want to ask me the three companies that will do, these are the three companies that I feel will do really well because their cash flow is amazing, and India will continue to make money. People will continue to make money, and with huge amount of influx of money coming, liquidity coming into the system, I feel all of these guys will also start doing well. Okay, so out of these three companies, if I had to look at risk reward ratio, I would take Motilal Oswal right now. And Nuvama is also good, but Motilal Oswal is what I would pick. Anand Rathi is slightly gone up because of the hype, a little bit has gone up because of their buyback that they're doing. Anand Rathi is slightly gone up to a higher valuation. But if I had to take an entry position right now, I would take an entry position into Motilal Oswal Financial Services. Okay, so this is the 10th company, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10th. Fine. So I usually prefer doing a 10 portfolio basket, but I wanted to add one more company here. Okay, which is to make it more balanced. I wanted to add one more company in the hospital space, and that company is called Narayana Hrudayalaya. I don't know if you guys have heard it. They are also doing a massive capex right now in the entire space. They're doing a huge amount of capex in this industry as well, and I feel hospital space is a very defensive space because it is only about beds and it is about revenue, and there is always medical inflation that keeps helping the hospital companies give more and more money. Okay, now one thing I've not added here, even though I would like to add, which you can add, because I can't go about 10 or 11 stocks, which is in my DNA. I can't make a very diversified portfolio, but I would like to add, if you want to add, you can add some PSUs. There are three PSUs that I'm very favorable on or bullish on. One is Canara Bank, one is Federal Bank, and one is Bank of Baroda. I feel these three companies will do really well going forward. All three will do extremely well. Now, just before we do anything else, take a pause and just look at this once. Just look at this portfolio once. What is our goal? What is our goal about this portfolio? Do you guys remember the goal I told you? Our goal is to beat Nifty. Is it correct? Or I want to get minimum around 15 to 18% in a year. Either beat Nifty, and if Nifty is doing well, then I want to get minimum 18 to 20% in a year. If I get 20% in a year, I should be very happy. But even if I get 15%, I should not cry about it. Assuming I'm beating Nifty and getting 15%. Okay. If Nifty gets 25% and I get 15%, then it's stupid. Now, if you look at these companies, most of them seem like they will do well if Nifty does well. Do you agree? Most of them does well if Nifty does well. And most of these companies are straight up beneficiaries of today's index. Okay, straight up beneficiaries of the next government coming in. There are other plays. For example, there is a pharmaceutical play, there is a chemical play, but I don't know when they will start. I know they are going to start, but I can't tell you guarantee will it start today, tomorrow. Will they be portfolio winners or will they be portfolio laggers? Right? But I feel that these companies are portfolio winners. Again, I've given you a lot of notable mentions, right? You can switch this out with notable mentions as well. If you want to reduce the small case from say 73,000 to make it 60,000 or 50,000, you can reduce a lot of them and put their competition if you want. Okay, sorry, Federal Bank is not PSU, it is a private company. Sorry, my bad, Jitin. But I'm saying these three banks I'm very bullish on, which is Canara Bank, Bank of Baroda, and Federal Bank. These three companies I feel will continue to do well. But if you look at this, I believe this is a very strong portfolio to see if India wins for the next 4 years. These companies will directly be good beneficiaries of these four companies, of these winners, right? So this is what I currently feel. Now, again, you can tweak this the way you want to, right? This is something that I would prefer. I would love to add 4 or 5 more companies and make it a 15 stock basket. But you know me, I don't like doing 15 stock basket, right? So Abhimanyu is asking me, what about pharma sector? I'm telling you, pharma will do well, but I can't tell you pinpoint will it do well instantly right now, because pharma is not dependent on Modi 3.0 straight away. It is dependent on a lot of other factors, like your China is also interfering a lot with the pharma space, right? Because China is dumping heavy amount of APIs into the market, right? Railways, why I'm not very bullish on, I already told you at the start of this episode, because I don't know if railway is coming to BJP or if railway is going to someone else. So I don't have the track record, but I know these companies will do well. Whatever happens, if Nifty does well, and I'm not saying all of them will do well, correct? I'm very clear. I'm not saying all of them will do well. I'm saying even if 5 companies do well, I should be able to beat Nifty in the next 365 days. And I should be doing well. Okay, that's it. And no rebalance, kuch nahi. This is, I feel, will do well because these are all strong companies. These are not companies that are risky. The only small cap company here is Venus Pipes, which I said you can remove this and add maybe Astral or KEI or any other companies that you want. But apart from this, everything is very balanced. One will complement the other, and that is how I look at it. So I'm going to save this right now. I'm going to save small case. Look at the performance in the past. Okay, it has done well. So I'm going to save this small case. This is going to be this I will invest on Monday along with you guys. Okay, I'm going to invest on Monday along with you guys, and let's see. We will track it over time. Okay, we will track it over time. 1 year we have to track, like how we have seen New Year's below. It's still going on. So we will track this, whether it beats Nifty or not. Only after 1 year we will come to know whether we were correct or we were wrong. Okay. I cannot share the link. So I would suggest you look at the video and go back to this point and replicate it by yourself, because link sharing is not allowed in small case anymore. Okay. Chalo, coming back to trading view. Now let me go to my picks. I've kept it ready here for you guys. First pick is HAL. Now look at HAL. HAL has been doing a very good rally, has been going up quite significantly. And when the pullback happened, when the market fell, H- HAL has not given the pullback enough. It has only done 50% pullback from its actual price. It still has a few more ways to go. So I think the risk reward ratio again here is slightly favorable, and HAL is going to be a direct beneficiary of defense. So I have no problem with this as well. Okay, coming to Musgao Dock. See, Musgao Dock has done a much better pullback compared to HAL. HAL has not done a major pullback, but Musgao Dock has done a major pullback. Anyway, both of them will come very close to their all-time high, which is 3480, and even HAL will come to their all-time high of 5400. And you can see some moves happening by the government, because government of India has this very common trend that whenever one of their government stocks start going up, what do? They do an OFS, or they do a bonus, or they do a split, or they do something like that, right? So all of these things will happen. So let's look at it from a more structural standpoint. Then BEL, as I said, has a better risk reward ratio. We have not put it in our portfolio, but as I said, this is something that is a notable mention. This would do a very good pullback in the short term as well. Okay, coming to IREDA. IREDA is just waiting, I would say. Wait for the budget. Okay, now do you know that there's a budget coming up in July? You guys are aware, right, that there is a proper budget coming up in July. So in the budget, couple of things are very standard, which will always be spoken about. Defense will be spoken about. Defense budget has to be announced in that thing, right? The extra money that the government of India has got, where is that going to go? That is number two. So full budget. Then energy, definitely they will talk about. So when they talk about defense and energy, automatically some of these stocks will give you a 3-4% rally. Unless they don't talk about it, then that becomes an issue. Also, Andhra Pradesh, as I said, a lot of you guys who are currently in Andhra Pradesh should find a way in the next 4 years to make good money, whether it's real estate, whether it's something else, because you will have a lot of money coming into your industry right now. Very soon, you will have a lot of money coming into your city. You will see a lot of people making good money. Okay, coming to poly is doing really well. It will continue to do well, right? It is also very close to its all-time high. All of these stocks can do well. If you want to take a PSU, you can check out Canara Bank, has been doing well, but I have not included it in my portfolio. Tata Power, no problem with Tata Power. They're going. Tata Power has ultimately multiple themes. That is why I'm very interested in Tata Power. Multiple themes, as in they are into power generation. Okay, they are into transmission, and they are now doing BESS. Okay, these three themes are very strong themes going forward in the next 4 years, right? So I feel that this company is poised to do really well, along with JSW Energy, because JSW Energy is also doing huge capex. So these two will do well. If you want to take a slightly riskier bet, you can do KPI Green, only if you want to do a riskier bet. But I would not I mean, it's okay. I mean, it's okay. It's a riskier bet. I'm not saying it's a bad company, but it's a slightly riskier bet. It depends on your risk tolerance that you have, right? Then you have Nuvama. I have taken Motilal Oswal instead of Nuvama. I think, did I put it? Motilal Oswal Finance. Okay. Yeah, I'll show you here. So this is what I have taken, very close to its range breakout. Again, all close to its all-time high. Literally everything is close to all-time high, only because the market is also sitting at an all-time high position. I would suggest, instead of buying on Monday, I mean, to be honest, it doesn't matter whether you buy on Monday or don't buy on Monday, but you can wait for a small pullback of till 23,000 ka pullback. If you want to wait, you can wait, because there is a small correction that will happen. Ultratech Cement is also something I'm very bullish on. I can't put it in the small case because it's 10,000 rupees a share, but it is sitting literally at an all-time high breakout zone with huge amount of capex. This is something you should watch out for. ABB, Siemens are also very good company that you should check out if you are planning to invest. Federal Bank doing well. Bank of Baroda is also doing well. Astral is doing well, and Motilal Oswal is also doing well. Right? I feel. See, I might be completely wrong. I might be completely wrong with this, right? But I feel the stocks that we have chosen should just coming back to it, so we can look at it. As I said, all of these companies should do really well, and in fact, if you look at Persistent, um, mainly Persistent, I was just looking at Persistently. If you come here, they have just pulled back from their 200-day moving average, okay, which gives a positive bias. They have just pulled back from the 200-day moving average. So this again now will start doing a slow recovery. IT was doing really bad. Now IT, I think, will start doing a good recovery back towards the top. Even if you look at pre-call, okay, even if you look at pre-call is sitting at a very good rate, because it's sitting at 23% ROC, good equity return on ratio, very favorable P ratio at 38. It is not too much, it is not too less. It's a slow mover, but it gives good returns over time, so I am completely okay with this as well. Overall, I think these 10 stocks should do really well. Looking at Narayana Hrudayalaya also, Even Narayana Hrudala is doing really well. If you look at this 32p, so not very out of the ballpark. Just gave a recent ping back from the 200-day moving average. So I'm very favorable with companies that do a ping back from 200-day moving average. The only problem with hospital companies is they need to have more and more beds. So if you come here and look at the notes, or if you can go through their investor presentation and all of that, you will see that under capex plans they are planning to invest 1600 crores in this year itself, and 20% will be funded by them and 80% through debt. Now whenever you take debt, the interest goes up, so your net profit can go down. And because the hospitals don't get ready in one day, but they're also doing some brownfield expansion, so even that should definitely start favoring them and doing well. Somebody's asking, what about KPIT? See, I'll show you why I'm saying no. Why I'm saying no for KPIT. It's still sitting at 70p. It has done a pullback, perfect pullback from 200-day moving average. But I'm just, if I had to choose between two companies with KPIT and Persistent, I would choose Persistent only because the current P is lower, means forward P is even lower. Again, I said I have no problem with KPIT, Coforge, and Persistent. All three management are good. They are return generating machines. All three are completely good. Okay, so don't worry about that. It's just I am looking at good risk reward ratio, assuming I have to invest tomorrow, right? If I could invest 1 week back, then the risk reward ratio would be very. The top 11 picks, let us track them, let us see them. Again guys, these are not buy or sell recommendations. These are my 11 picks that I am going to be very bullish on. So please don't come and shout at me tomorrow saying this didn't do well, whatever. I'm not liable for anything. Just keeping a very clear disclaimer of all this, because I don't want any problems tomorrow. I'm not SEBI registered, and this is not a buy or sell recommendation. I'm just telling you what might do well, assuming Modi 3.0 is here. Got it? Are we clear? Yes, boys, girls, everybody. Cool. So again, I think we're not too late. I think right now the market has just gone up to its all-time high. So let's wait for it to come back down a little bit and relax for a while. I have started investing again. I was full cash during the entire election market because I didn't want to stay invested during the election time. So I was completely out, not out of my mutual funds, but at least out of my investing portfolio. I was fully in cash. Now the market is going to do a small wait and watch kind of a scenario. It's going to be non-volatile. But then July, again it is going to become very volatile in June, the month of July. Again in July it'll start going up quite drastically. So I'm going to wait and see what is going to happen in the budget, and let's see, let's track from what we have what logic we have put. I think it is all correct. I'm still waiting to see who's going to get railway. I'm very conscious of who gets railway because I want railway to do well, and there are huge beneficiaries at play. And I feel if railway does go to BJP again, then railway will also start doing really well, and all the railway companies should do really well. So I feel these are the top stocks that we have in our market right now. So let's see. Our goal is to beat Nifty over the 365 period. So hopefully by next June, we should be beating Nifty and making good amount of returns going forward. Okay, awesome. So guys, just one last question to all of you guys. Did you like this entire session? Did a lot of research. I had to go through the IIFL reports. We had to go through Goldman Sachs. I had to see what ministries were going where. I had to understand all of that. Only then I can come and say with some kind of confidence that okay, this can do well, this might not do well. But more important than picking stocks or looking at stocks, what is more important is the psychology of how someone should think before investing. There are so many different things you need to look at before investing. It is not just looking at FOMO. You have to do your research. And we looked at the research. I looked at it. I saw what can do well, what cannot do well, what is the risk reward ratio. The stocks I've spoken about are very balanced, right? The small case that I created for myself is also very balanced. It is not too volatile, right? I can easily make it very risky by putting risky companies, but I don't believe in doing that. I believe in slowly, sustainably beating Nifty, right? As long as you beat Nifty, I think you should be very happy about it. Don't go for unbelievable, exorbitant FOMO kind of gains. Try to just beat Nifty every single year, which most of the fund managers cannot do. If you can do it, you're better than most of the fund managers. So that is what it is. Okay. Again, sorry for not being extremely active, but I've been active on text. If people who are in my community would know that I've been giving them constant updates of what is happening and what is good and what is bad, and I'm telling them to calm down, relax. So if you're a part of that, then you will know what is happening. But apart from that, I think that is it. I'll see if I can make one or two small videos in the over the week as well. And definitely I will be coming back next week again for another live. Okay, so till then, if you have any questions, put in the comment section below. And thank you guys. I'm going to see you guys next week. This is me, Shashank Udupa, signing off. Take care. See you guys. Bye bye.